Where I'm from, there's a custom: if someone dies before 50 and isn't cremated, a young boy must sit on the coffin head during the burial until it's fully interred. My grandfather is a yin-yang master. He handles almost 90% of the funeral affairs in several nearby villages. Over time, I've served as the coffin calming child several times. This morning, just after I got up, my mother mentioned that Lu Degui in our village had died. Lu Degui was a consumptive, just over 30, skinny as a rail, and with no family. His funeral would have to be handled by the village. As fellow villagers, after breakfast, Grandpa took me to help. The village chief said cremation was originally planned, but Lu Degui seemed to know his death was coming and had prepared a coffin in advance, so they had to grant his wish. For an earth burial, a coffin calming child was needed. Grandpa calculated using Lu Degui's birth characters. Coincidentally, of the 7 young boys in the village, only mine didn't clash. Naturally, I had to be the one. On the day of the funeral, Grandpa placed a red cloth and some straw paper on the coffin, then lifted me up to sit on it. The pallbearers were Uncle Lee's men from the neighboring village, professionals who made a living from this, all burly and strong. Uncle Lee smiled and said to me, "Kid, hold on tight." I quickly grabbed the coffin ropes to avoid falling off when they started moving. Grandpa announced the time had come. Uncle Lee immediately raised his voice and shouted, "Lu Degui, time for your journey." The 8 men exerted force together, lifting the coffin easily. Hearing the lifting chant, the village chief set off firecrackers at the doorway. After the noise, the coffin moved out, followed by villagers who came to help. No one wailed, making it seem rather desolate. The journey was uneventful and smooth. But just after the coffin was lowered into the grave pit, something went wrong. With the coffin touching earth, my duty was over. I prepared to climb down, but when I moved, my whole body went weak. My rear end felt glued to the coffin lid. I couldn't get up at all. Uncle Lee, watching nearby, joked, "Look at this kid, so weak." He reached out to pull me up, but I, weighing only about 40 pounds, nearly yanked him into the grave pit instead. Shocked, Uncle Lee quickly let go and turned to shout for my grandpa, "Master Zhang, come quick, Zhang Tong might be fallen into the coffin." My face turned pale at the term. Grandpa, who had been checking the grave's alignment, rushed over when he heard Uncle Lee. People nearby also crowded around upon hearing, "fallen into the coffin." Remembering the story of that other boy, terrified of sharing his fate, I wailed for Grandpa to think of something fast. Grandpa was anxious too, telling me not to move. He sent someone back to the village to fetch a newly crowing rooster, took its blood, mixed it with cinnabar, and drew a talisman on the coffin. Then he asked Uncle Lee to try pulling me again. It still didn't work. By now, a chilly sensation seeped from beneath me, as if I were sitting on ice, freezing my backside painfully. Grandpa urgently called the village chief over, asking if Lu Degui's birth characters were recorded wrong. The chief said impossible. He helped carry the body back when Lu Degui's mother died on the way to the clinic during his birth, so he couldn't forget. Hearing this, Uncle Lee gave Grandpa a strange look and asked, "Master, could there be something wrong with the corpse itself?" Grandpa said it's possible, and told him to quickly lift the coffin back up. After the coffin was lifted, Grandpa took out an ink marker. He tied the thread end to my thumb and hooked the ink pot onto the coffin. Once tied, I could move my feet. Wiping my tears, I hurriedly jumped off. But the problem wasn't solved. The ink thread was soaked in black dog blood. Black dogs can see sinister beings, existing between yin and yang. Thread soaked in their blood can bridge the 2 realms. For now, Grandpa had only built a temporary yin bridge to let me get off. Uncle Lee, seeing me down, urgently had people pry open the coffin lid. The moment it was lifted, everyone gasped. Inside wasn't Lu Degui, but a female corpse wearing a red wedding dress and a red head veil. The village chief's face turned pale. He stammered, "Yesterday, when I led the team to prepare the body, we clearly encoffined Lu Degui. How could this?" Several elders who helped also came forward as witnesses. Grandpa's face was grim. Without a word, he told me to lift the corpse's red veil a little, but not completely. Shaking, I went over, carefully pinched a corner, and lifted it. The corpse had only revealed its chin when Grandpa and Uncle Lee cried out in alarm, "Kid, put it down now." Their shout made me let go, but somehow, the veil stuck to my hand. Pulling back, I lifted it entirely instead. Grandpa's face turned deathly pale. Without even waiting to see the corpse's full face, He grabbed the veil from my hand and threw it back toward her face. Uncle Li, turning his back, whispered, "Master, this corpse is from Xiao Mountain. Someone clearly wants to harm you." Grandpa grunted, worried, saying, "Targeting me is one thing. I fear there might be ulterior motives." Uncle Li's expression changed, exclaiming softly, "No way, who would dare?" Ignoring him, Grandpa, still facing away from the coffin, asked if the veil was properly placed. His throw had been off, the corpse's chin and mouth were still exposed. Her chin was full and pale, but her lips were terrifyingly red, as if smeared with blood, unsettling to look at.